Hello everyone, the December review here, back again with AJLT Season 2, Episode 9. As always, spoilers are ahead, so make sure to check out the show streaming on the Max app. So Episode 9 is titled There Goes the Neighborhood, and while also being the title to an excellent Sheryl Crow song, it's where Carrie makes a pretty big decision on her future in what is a pretty great episode overall in the series. Things start off a bit relaxed with Carrie and Aiden already back from visiting the farm, but things pick up fairly quickly as pretty much every main character has multiple prolonged scenes involving their varying levels of narrative. So much happens here, but I want to start off with how this episode ends, or really, the final few scenes with Carrie and Aiden. She decides to sell her apartment again, but this time she's found the perfect new place for not just her and Aiden, but down the road for Aiden's family as well. This is pretty monumental in the SATC world. Her apartment has been almost as much of a character as anything else over the years. Through good times and bad, reconstructions, move-outs, and casual house hunting, 245 East 73rd Street has always been home base. Yes, Carrie did move on briefly for an episode last season, but considering the circumstances after losing her husband, the concept didn't feel like such a polarizing experience. Plus, it didn't last very long. But by the end of things here, Carrie has already agreed to buy the new place. There really does go the neighborhood. And we get here in a pretty interesting way. First off, the obvious situation with Aiden never wanting to set foot in there again is an issue. One Carrie openly admits to this week, so that's clearly weighing on her mind. Then Che's place essentially kicks the couple out after they hit their 30-day visitor limit. So as the hotels have run their course, Che's place is off the table. We find ourselves at a crossroads. Things get even more pronounced when Aiden's ex-wife Kathy reaches out for an afternoon get-together. The slightly awkward meetup gets an exclamation point when Kathy essentially tells Carrie not to hurt Aiden again. Kathy is played by Rosemarie DeWitt, who, if you haven't seen it, is also in the monumentally excellent Rachel Getting Married. I can't recommend that film enough. I have a review up on the channel for it if you are so inclined to check it out. It's near perfect movie making. So it's great to see her here as well. Hopefully it's a character that pops up on screen again down the road. So all of this leads into the episode's big finale after Carrie lets Aiden know what she said. Aiden goes all Aiden and tells Carrie that she will hurt him again and he will hurt her. But it's not out of spite, but part of life. This time it's different, and this time they are much more equipped for handling the adversity. And just like that, Carrie has a new home. But right at the end here, the show does retract just a little bit. Carrie bumps into her neighbor Lisette, who mentions that she may be losing her sublet on her apartment. Nothing is said outright yet, but I'm willing to bet that Carrie keeps her place and just rents it out to her. I mean, I'm all in favor of a new home, but ditching that apartment? Let's not get crazy here, AJLT. The show did a great job setting up this next chapter for the couple. Throughout, it really felt like these are some real permanent changes for Carrie and, by effect, the entire show. And it is. Her return with Aiden has truly brought out a completely new side of the character. But like I said, there were plenty of other things of note here as well. So let's get down to the bullet points of all the shenanigans. Anthony, or Tony now as he is to be called, tries to break things off with Giuseppe in fear that he was just being used. But the pair soldier on as they clear the air. Naya apparently found Tinder, much to Miranda's chagrin, and seems to be stepping out a bit after the end of her last relationship, until she sees an Instagram post of her ex starting a family. It's a bit of a sad moment for Naya, and one I am sure will be a catalyst going forward. Herbert has a big speaking engagement which is being held at Charlotte and Harry's place. The latter is also the event planner. But LTW seems to have finally burned herself out with her crazy schedule, that she's falling asleep randomly and ends up being really late to the proceedings. After a rather amusing back and forth bickering session, Lisa tells Herbert that she's expecting, so congrats to the family as their world takes yet another direction. Che decides to start getting back into the stand-up world after meeting a fan at the vet's office. They fib a bit and say that they have got some shows coming up, and decides to actually get something going. I really like where Che has landed in this season. The character was certainly a lightning rod for Season 1, which Seemed a bit unfair to me as I never understood the vitriol for the role, but they were trying out new things. But that's just my opinion. The writers have gone out of their way to make the character a bit more grounded, and now with some time spent away from Miranda, both of them have settled into a much less chaotic period. But both are still searching for the next steps. Though looking at the preview for next week, that might get a bit complicated again. Seema starts to get a bit frustrated with Ravi, who can't seem to commit to any of the new apartments that she's shown him. He admits it's because he's been enjoying the time spent with her, and the pair start their new relationship. There's a great scene where Seema, Ravi, Carrie, and Aiden all meet up for dinner, and Aiden is starstruck by the director. John Corbett has tweaked just enough of the characters so far where Aiden seems as confident as ever, well, except for that whole apartment thing. And it's fun to see him fawn over Ravi in a bit of a throwback to earlier seasons. And Miranda asks Charlotte if Lily could meet up with Brady to encourage him to get back on the scholastic track. Only they may have started up a relationship instead. This sets Charlotte off into full-scale Code Red Charlotte mode. And it ends with a great scene involving Anthony and Giuseppe in a room together. It's funny stuff. So yes, things are all over the place for our AJLT friends, but it really feels like things are coming together quite well for the most part. Episode 9 really had a nice second half with Carrie and Aiden taking center stage. Their history together is clear to them and everyone they know. And it's also a catalyst helping them in the present and clearly shaping the future. I have a feeling I know where this season is going to go now for the big grand finale. With only 2 episodes left, it doesn't seem like a stretch that the couple might make that ultimate commitment to each other. One that would be enough to champion a phone call from an old friend who hasn't been around Manhattan for a while. And if that's the case, we could be setting things up for a truly final conclusion in just 2 weeks. But I'm getting way ahead of things here. I have to get used to calling Anthony Tony before anything else right now.